Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can see in the title, I'm going to talk about weight loss, keto, intermittent fasting. It's something that I posted on my Instagram and a lot of people messaged me asking how I was losing the weight, what my secret is. And so I thought I'd just make a video and answer everyone's questions right here and now. A quick thing before I start, and this is something that I see on a lot of weight loss videos, that people do have to put disclaimers. You have to remember that my body is different and my weight is different, my height is different, my body fat percentage is different, and so what works for me might not necessarily work for you. It's not a guaranteed 100% cure or a solution to weight loss. So just be mindful of that, be open-minded. I also want to put out there that I'm not an expert on the keto diet. A lot of the information that I do know is purely from research that I've done, and trust me, I did a lot of research before I started. I was on YouTube, on Google, and I was just searching things all the time for at least like 3 or 4 days, thoroughly for like 8 hours before I actually began. So make sure you do your research. I think you owe yourself that much to know, to make sure that what you are doing is the right thing for your body and you're not just doing things mindlessly. So please, please, please do your research. For me, I have always been overweight all my life. I remember being in grade 2 and I used to weigh 120 pounds or 140 pounds, and like that's a lot for a little kid. And then I remember weighing 190 pounds in grade 8, and at my highest I was 250 pounds the year I turned 15. So I was in grade 10 at the time, but I was 15 years old. So weight has always been such a big thing, not just in my life, but in my family. I remember being a little kid and my parents taking me from one doctor to the next, to the next, to the next, and trying to just figure out why I was overweight. I remember going to sleep clinics. I remember getting a lot of blood tests done, a lot of ultrasounds done, because my parents just didn't know I was overweight. And one of the things that the doctors always told them is that, you know, when your daughter's time comes and she makes it up in her head that she wants to lose weight, she will. And I think that is not just something for a child. I think even into our adulthood, until you truly want to lose weight and until you truly love yourself to know that I need to get in better shape, it just doesn't happen. People can tell you again and again and again. You can tell yourself again and again and again, but until you truly believe it in your heart, it's just not gonna happen. For those who are plus size and those who are overweight and have embraced it, kudos to you. I think it's extremely admirable. For me, it was not an aesthetic thing. It's not that I was unhappy. A part of it was that I was unhappy with how I looked, but it was more so about how uncomfortable I was in my skin. It was like I shouldn't be huffing and puffing by the time I got to the top of the stairs. So to me, it was more like, if I can fix myself physically, then fixing myself mentally shouldn't be a problem. So for those of you who already watch my vlogs, you know that I do deal with things like anxiety and depression. And I felt like if I could fix myself physically and I could be happy with myself physically, if I was eating right, going to the gym, I could solve a whole lot of the stuff that's going on up in my head. So for me, that's the reason why I started. Your reason might be different, your motivation might be different, your inspiration might be different, and that's okay. And whatever works for you is completely fine. Starting with the keto diet, I started doing a lot of research. My main source of information is Keto Connect on YouTube. I will link their information in the dialog box below. I just started watching their videos and I fell in love with the whole idea of keto. For those of you who don't know, keto is a low carb, medium protein, high fat diet. In order to also understand what the keto diet is, you have to understand what ketosis is. Ketosis is a state of being in your body. Normally your body intakes carbs and uses those carbs as a form of energy. What your body is now going to do, because you're consuming high fats, is going to start using the fat as energy instead. One thing I want everyone to be so mindful of is that it is not easy. In the first 2 weeks especially, 99% chance you will go through the keto flu. Doesn't matter how hard you try to avoid it, your body will feel groggy, you will feel tired, you will feel body aches, you'll have migraines, headaches. You will not have enough energy to go to the gym. So you want to make sure that you are very aware of that you are putting your body through a transformation where your body is no longer using carbs for energy and it is now using fat for energy. Another thing to be mindful of, especially a lot of men who are watching, pretty much like muscle oriented, you want to make yourself bigger. Keto is not for you. Muscle will not assist you to gain muscle mass. Doing keto will not assist you with that. I would say keto is definitely for someone who wants to lose a lot of weight. So am I saying that it's impossible to do keto and try to gain muscle mass at the same time? Definitely not. Anything you set your mind to is possible, but just be mindful of that as well. So with the keto diet, as per Keto Connect, they recommend that you keep your carb intake less than 20 grams. So I'm gonna put things into perspective for you. One apple has 34 grams of carbs. Strawberries, one strawberry has 4 grams of carbs. One protein bar has 20 grams of carbs. So if you consume things that are high carb or even medium carb, you're going to you're going to consume a lot of carbs that you otherwise could use for things that are more keto friendly. I'll get into the details of what I eat, and I'll also get into the details of my diet in a little bit. So before I get there, I just want to give you guys some numbers. When I was 16, my parents told me that they would throw me a sweet 16 party if I started to lose weight. So at that time, I was 250 pounds and I had lost 30 pounds by the time I turned 16 and my parents threw me this party. As I continued to lose weight, and over the years, I pretty much was able to get my weight from 250 pounds to my best, which was 180 pounds. So I had lost quite a significant amount of weight. And then about 3 years ago in 2014, December, I got into a car accident. And in my car accident, I broke my arm in 3 spots and I was unable to really function or do much. And I put on a lot of my weight. I was stressed, I was anxious, I was depressed, and I pretty much let myself do whatever I want, eat whatever I want. I did not exercise for 3 years. I took part in no physical activity pretty much for the next 3 years. Currently, I'm 240 pounds. My body fat percentage is 40% and I'm 5'9". That's my height. When I started keto, I pretty much did like 4 or 5 days of research and I just jumped right into it. For the first 2 weeks, I did not go to the gym. And there's a reason why. Because they say that when you hit your 3rd week of keto, you hit a stalemate, you stop losing weight. And for me personally, I knew if I got on that scale after doing all this work of watching what I eat to the T, that would be demotivating for me. So what I decided to do is in the first 2 weeks, I strictly focused on just what I ate. I rarely ever hit my macros. My calorie count is supposed to be 2,000 and I rarely hit 2,000. If I'm lucky, I'll make it to 1,500, but on average, I'm anywhere between 1,000 and 1,200 calories. When you are doing keto, your appetite is shot. You do not feel like eating. You're full because fat is just more filling than carbs is, and fat just lasts longer in terms of giving you energy than carbs would. Carbs go through your system like that. So that's just something to consider. In my first week when I started doing keto, I would put everything into my Fitness Pal. I just wanted to see where I stood in terms of my fat, my carbs, my protein, and most importantly, my calories. With any diet, you have to remember, if you want to lose weight, the simple fact is that you need to put your body in a caloric deficit. So if you want to do that by increasing your carbs and increasing your protein and maybe lowering your fat, but still putting your body in a caloric deficit, you will still lose weight. The only reason that I feel like keto worked for me is because I do not feel like I am dieting whatsoever. I still get to enjoy amazing, delicious food, and I do not feel like I am pretty much selling my body short and putting myself through all this struggle for absolutely no reason. So for that reason, I think the keto diet is amazing. In the first week, you tend to lose, I would say in the first and second week, you lose water weight. You're not actually losing fat. For me, in my first week, 7 days, I lost 10 pounds, which is amazing. And like I said in the very beginning of the video, for some people this worked, for some people it doesn't. For example, my sister did it, and I think that she did it for a week, maybe 2. I would say a week, I think. And she had only lost 2 pounds. And after that, she decided that it's just not for her. She would rather just eat well and exercise and lose the weight that way. So I lost 10 pounds in the first 7 days. In the second week, from day 7 to 14, I lost 4 pounds. And then in my third week, I lost 3.5 pounds. So after 2 weeks of doing keto, in my third week, I started going to the gym. I hit the gym 5 times that week. And it was not a high weight or high intense muscle gaining kind of workout. I wasn't doing a lot of weights. For the most part, it was 30 to 35 minutes cardio. And then one day I would just do some free weights of legs. And the next day I would do arms. The next day I would do abs, and just kind of switch it up just to get my body used to, for A, going back to the gym, and B, going back to the gym while I'm on keto. So I found that worked really well for me, and I still lost 3.5 pounds in my third week, which I really shouldn't have as per keto stereotypes, I guess you could say, but I actually did. So another thing to keep in mind is that I'm not only just doing keto, I'm doing keto on intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is pretty much you eat between an 8-hour window span, and then you fast for 16. So for me, I eat between 9 and 5 p.m. So it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I fast for the remainder of the time until 9 a.m. the next day. I find that this works for me purely because my worst habit is eating. And I might not look like I don't eat a lot, but I have a really hard time eating often and eating a lot. And even now, being on keto, and I'm realizing that it's hard because I'm not hitting my macros, because I'm not eating enough. On a good day, I'll get 3 meals in, but on most days, I'll get 1 meal and 1 protein shake in. And I'm not recommending that to anyone that's watching. If you can hit your macros, and if you can consume the calories that you're supposed to as per your weight and your height and your body fat index, I would definitely recommend that you do. Okay, so in a day, this is generally what I eat. I try to eat at 9 if I can, and if I'm going to have tea or coffee, it's always with heavy cream. So you wouldn't think, but milk, especially 1 or 2% milk, has a lot of carbs. Even if you have whole milk, like Homo milk, it has carbs as well. So heavy cream for 1 tablespoon has 1 gram of carb. So I'll have black tea with heavy cream in it. And if I have coffee, I'll have heavy cream as well. Keep in mind, I didn't know this, and maybe this is not common sense to everyone, is that the cream, like the creamer that you would get put in when you go to like McDonald's or Timmy's or something, that is not like heavy cream. That's just like creamer. And that is actually pretty high in carb. I don't think it's that high. I think it might be 6 or 7 grams, but I might be wrong. So keep that in mind as well. It's not the same thing. When I go to Starbucks, my go-to drink is to get a Venti iced coffee with no classic, and then I add light heavy cream, and then I'll get a pump of sugar-free vanilla and a pump of the cinnamon dolce, and it tastes really good. So I'll start with some tea, and then I will have a meal. My meal usually consists of anything like boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, eggs cooked in butter. I'll have spinach literally sauteed in butter. I'll have paneer, or I will have some pecans, pumpkin seeds. I can eat things like Greek yogurt, coconut milk, things like that. And once in a while, I'll get creative. Keto Connect has like the best recipes. So a couple weeks ago, I made a cauliflower pizza crust, and I made pizza on that because I love pizza, and I'm sure a lot of you watching do as well. And then I had cauliflower mac and cheese a couple days ago, and it was actually really, really good. So everything that you want to eat, everything that you're craving is available in keto form. Even if you want like cake in a mug, it's available in keto form. If you want some kind of dessert, if you want something that's savory, if you want something that is crunchy, because carbs generally are crunchy. So if you're craving something crunchy, you can make keto chips. Like every single little thing available is out there. I know in a lot of diets that people do, they recommend that you have a cheat meal every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever it is, once a week. With keto, if you have a cheat meal, you will kick yourself out of keto. It's as simple as that. So the 2 weeks that you struggled to put yourself in there, you were having these headaches, these migraines, your body was aching and you were throwing up and nauseous, you will have to go through that again. It may not be as intense as it was the first time, but for me personally, it's not worth it to put my body through that again. I would rather just satisfy my craving with something that's keto friendly and call it a day. Another way to cheat is to pretty much increase your carb intake, but without consuming like 100 or 200 grams of carbs, or increase your calorie count for the day while you're still keeping keto friendly. A big thing to remember is that I am vegetarian, and so sometimes vegetarians, they don't realize that some of the stuff that they eat is not keto friendly. So for example, you can't have dana sabjiyan, you can't have lentils, you can't have soy-based things. You have to be very, very, very mindful of that. That usual things that you would eat as a source of protein, you can't eat because it's not keto friendly, because it's just high in carbs. So pretty much count your carbs. It's really that simple. Put it in MyFitnessPal. It will track it down to the T. And the biggest thing, and I should have mentioned this sooner, is that when you are counting carbs, you are not counting carbs, you are counting net carbs. So for example, if I have a cup of broccoli, and I'm just making this up, these are not actual real numbers. If I have broccoli and a cup of broccoli has 5 grams of carbs, of which 2 is dietary fiber, that means that I had 3 net carbs. So you are counting your net carbs. So if something has fiber in it, it kind of cancels out whatever carbs are in it, and then you have a balance that's left. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, go to Keto Connect and just watch their videos. It'll make a whole lot more sense to you. People do have things like bulletproof coffee, which is pretty much like coffee with butter. A big thing that I highly recommend is that every single day you should be having spinach, avocado, and broccoli. Those 3 things, especially if you're on doing vegetarian keto, should be a part of your diet. The first couple of weeks, you will not use the bathroom, you will be constipated, and so introducing fiber into your diet in any way possible is just really, really important. I did buy some Metamucil supplements from Costco the other day, and since it's all fiber, it doesn't count towards my net carbs, which is a good thing. So I'm gonna start taking, I think you're about to take like 1 or 2 a day or something. I'm gonna start doing that. And another thing is that when you are going through the keto flu and you do feel groggy, tired, body aches, whatever else, it's because your electrolytes are low. So electrolytes are consumed or made up of 3 things, which is your sodium, potassium, and magnesium intake. Your magnesium can be covered if you just take a magnesium vitamin every single day, and I just bought that from Costco a couple days as well, and so I'm going to start doing that. Your sodium, just add salt to everything. My go-to protein shake is pretty much a scoop of the Whey Isoburst protein powder by GNC. It is the cookies and cream brand, and that I believe has 2 grams of carbs per scoop. I'll put that in. I'll put a cup of coconut milk. For me personally, I noticed that out of whole milk, 1%, 2% whole milk, almond milk, coconut milk was the lowest in carbs. So I put a scoop of the protein powder, a cup of the coconut milk. I put 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, and that's the plain version, none of this artificial vanilla stuff. And then I put a tablespoon of MCT oil. For those of you who don't know, MCT oil can be purchased at any pretty much GNC health food store. And that, I believe, I might be wrong, is like 20 grams of fat. And there's like no carbs, no protein, it's just straight fat. So I put a tablespoon of that into my protein shake, and I always add a dash of salt. So like I said, your electrolytes, you need to keep track of your magnesium, you need to keep track of your sodium, and your potassium you'll be able to get from things like your spinach, your broccoli, and avocado. So just make that a staple in your keto diet every day if you can, and you'll be on your road to success. Few pointers is that you might feel defeated when you first start. You might feel like this is not working for you. You might feel like you're not eating enough, you're tired, it's not worth it. You have to go to work, you have to participate in life, you have to go to the gym, you have to take care of your kids, you have to go to school, whatever it is. I completely get it. It is not going to be easy. If you can troop on through it, do it. For me, I had really, really bad hot flashes. I would like go to the grocery store with my mom and I'd be like sweating bullets. So your body will react to things in different ways. And I don't want to say that it's normal, because I mean, it's normal because your body is going through this transformation, but at the end of the day, you know your body better than anyone else. So if you feel like this is not good for you, or this is harming you and it's not, you know, beneficial whatsoever, then please stop doing it, or just be very mindful of how you're doing it. I cannot stress that enough. They say that when you do start doing keto in the beginning, like maybe you don't really need to focus so much on your calories, but just eat enough, because you will be hungry for the first couple of days when you start. You're not eating carbs anymore, but just eat whatever you can first couple of days. Especially if you're doing the vegetarian keto, eat tofu, eat paneer, eat cheeses, any kind of cheeses. Eat, I personally have a very, very hard time hitting my protein macros. So what I pretty much do is I really heavily rely on my protein shake, and I rely on my Greek yogurt, and I rely on protein chips, which I also bought from GNC as well. And for one bag of those chips, they're the barbecue flavored, they are 2 net carbs. So that's actually pretty good. And I'll like kind of treat it like a cracker and put some cheese on it and eat that. So just be very mindful of what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. Track it on MyFitnessPal. I think the reason my sister didn't lose as much weight as she wanted to was because she wasn't tracking it. And it's so important to track your macros. Another thing is that I have friends that started doing keto, and I noticed that they're not losing as much weight either. And I think it's because they're meat eaters, and as meat eaters, you are consuming a higher level of protein than I am as a vegetarian. So you have to remember, it is a high fat, medium protein, low carb diet. I find that those who do keto and you're consuming high amounts of protein, if the protein is outweighing the fat, you will not get the results that you want to get. It has to be a high fat diet. So be very mindful of your protein macros as well. And I think that's really about it. I'm pretty sure I've covered most of everything. So I lost 17.5 pounds in 3 weeks. My original plan was to do keto for 3 months. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do keto for 2 months. I may even do it just for the next 3 more weeks. And then I'm going to slowly up my carb intake. So if right now, sometimes I don't even hit 20 grams. Sometimes I'll do 10. Sometimes I'll do 14. Sometimes I'll do 5. It really depends on my day. Depends on how much time I had to eat what I needed to eat. So I'm going to go from 20 to 30, and I'll do that for a couple of weeks, and 30 to 40, and do that for a couple of weeks. Some people like to do something called carb filtering. I might be using that word wrong. It might not be called carb filtering. It might be called something else. But essentially what it is, that it is Monday to Friday. You keep your carb count really low, less than 20 grams. And then on Saturday and Sunday, you splurge a little. You might go up to 50, 60 grams. Once again, that depends on your body type, your body mass index, and all that fun stuff. So you have to really do what works for you. And honestly, just listen to your body. You know your body better than anybody. You know what works for you and what doesn't. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Water is so important on the keto diet. I will wake up in the middle of the night, like almost every night, and I'm like dying of thirst. Like my mouth is so dry. I have to get up and drink water. So it's so important to stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking enough water. And especially if you are drinking on keto. So obviously, maybe it's not that obvious, but beer is high carb, and some wine, some liquors, some champagnes are high carbs. So you need to be mindful of that as well. If you want to drink, I believe hard liquor is 0 carb. But you have to remember that keep track of what you are mixing it with. So obviously if you take, I don't know, like if you have a shot of vodka and you're going to mix it with like Coke, obviously that makes absolutely no sense. You're probably better off just having that shot of vodka and then maybe mixing it with like some Diet Coke or Diet Pop or soda water or just water in general, because that makes a lot more sense. Your carb count will stay low. And the biggest thing is that when you are drinking, the liquor will hit you a lot faster, and it will hit you a lot harder. So they do say for every drink that you have, every alcoholic beverage that you have, you need to have a glass of water. Otherwise you'll have like hangover, headaches, migraines, and no one likes that. So be mindful when you are drinking as well. Know that it's going to hit you. I mean, you don't have carbs that's sucking up all that liquor than you normally would when you're out on a regular night of drinking. Now that you're doing keto, it is going to hit you a lot faster and a lot harder, which is kind of a good thing. I mean, you can get drunk on less. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And I really hope I have covered most of it. If you have any questions, you don't have to comment if you don't feel comfortable. You can comment if you want to. You can DM me, send me a text. I know a lot of the people who have recommended this video are my friends, and I really hope I was able to cover a lot of the questions that you have for you. And I'm available if you have any questions, even if it's not diet related, even if it's anxiety related, even if it's depression related. I am more than happy to answer anyone's questions. And I really hope that if you do try the keto diet, like, keep me in the loop, tell me how it's going. I know at least 2 or 3 of my friends who are trying the keto diet right now, and they're getting amazing results. And it's nice to inspire people, but I want to remind you that, like, it's all you. I might have inspired you to start, but the effort that you put in every single day, from the decisions that you make as to what you're going to eat and put into your body, to the decision of if you're going to go to the gym or not, to the decision of I'm not going to go on a binge drinking and I'm just going to focus on myself. And any decision you make, that's all you, and credit goes to you. So I do not deserve that credit. That's all on you. And yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, like, don't hesitate to let me know. If you guys want a video in terms of more detail about my weight loss journey, my bullying, or dealing with weight growing up, I'd be more than happy to do that. If you want a video about my car accident, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. So if there's anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I apologize if this video was long, even though I promised that it would be short, but like, comment, subscribe, show some love, share it. If you have friends who are stuck and they tried everything, tried every diet, and they can't lose weight and whatever it is, and they just need an easy way out, honestly, the keto diet is the way to go for me. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that suggest that people who have started keto, a lot of people have ended up in the hospital, a lot of people were dehydrated, a lot of people fainted, made a lot of people sick. You have to remember that it is up to you to listen to your body. Not everyone is the same. And one last tip, if you do find that you're going through the keto flu, like I said, it's because your electrolytes are low, you might consider getting the sugar-free Powerade or Gatorade. And that has like 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and just as good electrolytes in, which might help you, but you have to drink a lot of it for it to actually work. And I think my sister was saying that it's only like 5% per cup that will help you. So like I said, you're better off just sticking to increasing your sodium, magnesium, potassium intake, and you will feel a lot better after that. Also, if you're feeling like you lost your appetite and you're feeling nauseous, troop on through it and just force yourself to eat something. That's the best way to get over it. It's like when you're hungover, you know, and it's like you don't want to eat because you can't stand looking at food because the night before you were throwing up, and you know the thing that you need to do is pretty much just eat something and it'll make you feel better. Same concept. If you feel nauseous, if you feel sick, eat something, suck it up, and just get it into your system. So if you want some recipes on me cooking the cauliflower pizza or the cauliflower mac and cheese, or even making my protein shake or everyday meals that I make when I meal prep, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. I hope everyone has a fabulous, fabulous day. And I'm wishing everyone all the love in the world. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to reach your goals and feel good about yourself and be happy and content in who you are. Like I always say, love yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You need to do it for yourself. And just be happy. And you're one of a kind. And I'm wishing everyone all the best in their weight loss journey.